This is my unplanned pregnancy. She came at a really difficult time in my life. By all accounts, she shouldn't be here today, based on what pro-choicers tell us we need to succeed in life.
Keean Bexte here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for the Rebel Media, just outside of the largest abortion facility in the city, where a protest is gathering in response to local state representative Brian Sims crossing this very street behind me earlier this week to verbally accost 3 young girls and a few others, and also threaten to dox one of them, which, if you don't know what that means, it means release all of the personal information of the individual, their address, their phone number, everything that the left needs to put them in real danger. And you know as well as I do the tactics that Antifa uses when they get their hands on information of folks they don't like. They ruin their lives and they put them in real danger. So I'm going to go into this. Actually, before I go into the crowd, let's roll to the footage of what Brian Sims actually did so you have some context.
Representative Brian Sims here, and I am outside the Planned Parenthood at southeastern Pennsylvania. Oh no, they're leaving now. What we've got here is a bunch of protesters, a bunch of pseudo-Christian protesters who've been out here shaming young girls for being here. And so here's the deal. I've got $100 to anybody who will identify any of these 3.
So we're
I'm going to donate
to
Planned Parenthood. I'm going to donate to Planned Parenthood. So look, a bunch of white people standing out in front of a Planned Parenthood, shaming people. There's nothing Christian about what you're doing. Nothing Christian at all about what you're doing.
All right, now you've seen that. I'm going to go into the crowd and ask the locals here why they're gathered here on a Friday to protest this Planned Parenthood and Brian Sims, and we'll see what they have to say. Let's go.
So we are calling on State Representative Brian Sims and all those who dare to harass and violate the First Amendment rights of the constituents here in Philadelphia to step down.
What brings me here is that I firmly believe that life should be protected, babies should be loved, and if a parent is not ready or willing to do that, then there's always adoption, and I'm here to stand for that.
I am post-abortive and I regret my abortion, and I do everything I can to spread the message of truth and how abortion truly does hurt women.
I've had 6 children. I know how wonderful it is to bring a baby into the world. Planned Parenthood is the United States' largest abortion chain. They kill 900 children every single day in our country. They kill over 320,000 children every single year, so they commit almost 1/3 of all U.S. abortions. And they also harm and perpetuate the abuse of women and young girls, lying to the American people. They're funded by the taxpayer in the United States to $1.3 million every single day. And this Planned Parenthood right here is one of the largest in Philadelphia, and it unfortunately has the backing of some of the most powerful politicians in America.
I've always been a pro-life supporter, but actually this is my unplanned pregnancy. She came at a really difficult time in my life. By all accounts, she shouldn't be here today, based on what pro-choicers tell us we need to succeed in life. I fully believe that women are strong enough and powerful enough to go through unplanned pregnancy and succeed in all of their dreams as well.
I'm really here because I think it's very important for us to defend the most weak, the most vulnerable among us. Our government has failed to do that, so we're doing it peacefully, we're doing it lovingly, reaching out to the moms. And this group here, in particular, we're here because a local elected representative really was very aggressive and harassing people who come out here to peacefully and lovingly reach out to these women. And we just want to stand together and say that's not okay, because what we're doing here is defending the innocent unborn. We're not being violent. We don't want anyone to get hurt.
What's one thing that you would say to Brian Sims if he would listen?
I would say pick on somebody your own size. I mean, he's a big quarterback-sized guy. He's a pretty big guy, and it's pretty intimidating. So I would say, it's a little ridiculous to be picking on, elderly women who are sitting out here in their free time trying to help women. And instead of trying to make himself some cheap political points, I would say, why don't you, activism help women? Why don't you go to a pregnancy resource center? Why don't you try to make a bill so that so that women don't have to choose abortion? I mean, no one picks abortion because they say, oh wow, this is really what I want. They do it because they're forced, because they don't have any other options. So I would say, fight for resources. Don't be fighting for cheap political points.
As an elected official, you too are entitled to your view. You are entitled to advocate for those you represent, but there's a civil way to do it. Harassment is never ever appropriate among any in our citizenry, much less elected officials.
I'd actually like to know what he thinks about his mom and the fact that his mom chose to give birth to him. I'd like to know if he has any brothers and sisters and how they feel about how he treated the people out in front of this building.
If he can't accept that there are others who don't think like him and who have convictions that are deeper than his, first of all, real Christianity is not going to stand by and let just this happen. He said that was pseudo-Christianity, and I'm super offended by that as a Christian. So I feel like he can't tolerate or accept others' views, and yeah, I absolutely think he should resign.
As a woman, as a feminist, I just find it so completely outrageous that a man would tell even someone as young as a 15-year-old girl that, her standing up for babies and standing up for women, standing against an organization that victimizes women, that victimizes babies, is just so incredibly inconsiderate. It's absolutely outrageous that a political figure, someone that's supposed to be representing me, would say something like that to my daughter, much less somebody else's daughter.
Should he resign?
Absolutely, 100%. And I hope that it's a woman that kicks him out of office.
I think Mr. Sims should resign for the way he bullied those young girls and that woman. I was out here one day with the 40 Days for Life, and a friend of mine, we were approached by Mr. Sims, and I told him, that I was sorry he felt that way, and that he was wrong, and that I would pray for him every day.
I pray for him. I pray for those who are on the other side of all of this because they just don't know. They don't know the truth.
Brian, if you ever change your mind and see things the way we do about abortion, I just want you to know there's forgiveness and healing, and we hope that you will join us in recognizing the right to life of all human beings, not just the ones who have already been born.
Well, I'm so glad that I came out here to this rally. We don't get protests like this in Canada. This was peaceful. This was people praying for unborn children and women. It was really beautiful what we saw here today. And what was even more interesting? They were forgiving and praying for Brian Sims. That kind of forgiveness isn't something that you see from the left. That kind of humanity isn't something that you see from the left. And I'm very glad that I was able to come here. If you enjoyed this coverage and want to see more of this kind of coverage at events like these, go to www.rebelinvestigates.com. There you'll see everything that I've been doing across the United States and Canada recently, and you'll be able to pitch in a few bucks to help cover the costs of doing things like this. Just last night, Air Canada canceled my flight from Toronto to Philadelphia, so I had to come in earlier this morning, but it meant I had to get a $200 hotel, and Air Canada didn't want to pay for it, of course. But that gives you some perspective as to some of the costs that goes into covering events like these. If you go to www.rebelinvestigates.com and pitch in a few bucks, I would really appreciate it. That way I can stay on the road covering events like these, covering the side of the story that the mainstream media just doesn't want to. For the Rebel.media, I'm Keean Bexte. Hey, thanks for watching. Like I said, please go to rebelinvestigates.com. There you'll see all of the coverage that I've been doing lately. I covered the synagogue shooting in San Diego, and I also covered the Donald Trump rally in Panama City. They're great videos. Go check them out.